government. There's another organisation that I'm very, very glad is joining us today. From Youth Capital, I have Nape Senong joining us, and a very, very well-known NGO. They do wonderful, wonderful work for the youth. And Nape, good afternoon to you. I appreciate you coming on. The President talks youth issues. Does he deal with youth issues? Those are two very different things, aren't they?
Yeah, thank you for having us. We think, as Youth Capital, we think that unemployment in the country is a crisis, and we think that it's a crisis particularly amongst young people, amongst the youth. And the President in the previous Sona has spoke quite a lot about tackling youth unemployment, but practically we haven't seen efforts that are coming out of. Responding to a crisis is not responding to any other challenge. So I think it requires a certain type of agency that we've not been seeing, and we hope that today it's not just more poetics that don't materialize. We hope that quite concrete solutions are going to be put forward so that we really do address the challenges that face young people, with youth unemployment being at the top.
When you say urgency, is there a type of phrasing or a type of wording that you need to hear the President say that will make this more believable? Because the plans, having spoken to YWAM out in Worcester, he was suggesting to us there, the head of the NGO, that he hears the President and local government say the right things, and they also want to make things happen urgently and with immediate attention. But he doesn't quite understand what that means. How do you interpret urgency? Is this a timeline, 1 year, 2 year, 3 years? What in your mind is urgent?
I think agency in this case would also mean accountability, because there's a program that the President spoke about at one Sona, and which was the program around the Basic Education Employment Initiative. It was a great initiative that created a lot of jobs for young people, but the initiative was not funded last year, and we really think as Youth Capital that is some of the agency that can be brought forward, be accountable to some of the things that you spoke about in the previous Sonas. Tell us where we are, what went wrong, what went right, so that we can replicate stories of success, and we can also just urgently respond to where there's challenges.
Because part of those challenges you're talking about, this is where you come in as Youth Capital. You understand what's happening on the ground. You see the everyday struggles. What would you put in the President's speech? If you had to give the President one piece of advice that he should read out tomorrow during the Sona address, what would that actually be? Give him one piece of practical advice that maybe he can jump on and not make it a box-ticking exercise. Where would you start?
I think support for a lot of the programs that the President has spoken about in previous Sonas, and really just, for example, the public employment programs, they've shown that they can provide young people with meaningful, work experience, and also not just speak, the Sona should be tied to the budget. When the President makes these promises, there should also be money that's being made available, and a commitment towards funding to these sort of programs. So I think it shouldn't just be words. It should be words that sort of we could foresee some sort of action from. It shouldn't be all dreamy and that kind of a thing. And I think accountability is quite key. Reflect on the other stuff that we've said in the other Sonas, and reflect, not saying that we want you to be caught out, but reflect in a way that we can respond to some of the challenges, and like I said, replicate where there's successes.
Nape, thank you very, very much. You're going to be watching the State of the Nation address very, very closely, as all of us are going to be, but without a doubt, for Youth Capital, it is going to be how much attention the President gives in his speech to issues regarding the youth, Yuveka, as I come back to you. It's got to be about the jobs. It's got to be about creating opportunities for development, the upskilling of the youth. Is that really what is actually going on? Yuveka, my biggest thanks to Nape Senong from Youth Capital, how to tackle unemployment issues in our country. Yuveka, let's come back to you for now.